So most people hate when their customers send them their packages back. Typically, so do I. But this is the one instance where I am thrilled to receive my products back because a customer has an issue with them. Jesus Christ. What the heck? Maybe not, I don't know, this is rough. So, we got this belt. Bummer that I gotta work on it again, but I'm not all too upset. As a big fellow myself, I always struggled with my weight. I actually lost a good amount of weight myself. I've always been a bigger kid. This belt no longer fits my customer, which is flipping awesome news. I love when belts come back because my customers have lost a ton of weight. There is too much acceptance with the being plus size and everything's okay. Let's be real, folks, it is not the greatest. So do what you can, get your weight and your health under control. And my homegirl has done that for herself, which is super incredible. Usually when it comes to making belts shorter, most people end up landing in one of the last holes. They want a little bit of adjustment. That's what she's hit me up for. Now, in an ideal world, I wouldn't have to cut into a good belt, but there is a relatively easy way to get back into these belts without having to mutilate the whole thing and make it smaller. It's a lot easier to make a belt smaller than it is to make it bigger. So we're gonna take a look at what we can do to get this thing to fit right. So first thing we're gonna do is take the original belt sizing, gonna mark it down here, and then we're gonna try and take the new belt sizing. So what we need to do is take 4 inches off of this belt. Now for visuals, typically I give my customers about 6 inches of adjustment. I give them 7 holes. So we start, the first hole is basically our starting point, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. I like to land in the middle, which gives 3 inches down, and then 3 inches up. Now the cool thing about this, I would like to sit here and take credit and act like I've fully planned for this, but this has happened a couple times where customers need me to shorten their belts. Now here's what the end of our belt looks like down over there at the end. If you look 4 inches from the end is somewhere right around this black line. But we get super lucky. This first hole down at the end is where one of the snaps go, is almost 3/4 of an inch in. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna slide this over and put it towards this hole. Now this 4-inch hole right here actually looks a lot closer to this hole here. As much as I would like to sit here and take credit for this super genius leather crafting hack, this is 100% coincidental and it has worked out absolutely incredibly many times for me before. So to make this super simple, so what we're gonna do is basically just shorten it up here and turn where these 2 front snaps are into the place where the new back snaps are gonna be. And then we're going to install 2 new front snaps here, which allows us to slide right back up into these original holes that we gave her in the first place. So that's what we're gonna get doing. My nice customer spent a lot of money on this belt and I spent a lot of time. So first things first, we're gonna have to pop off these old front snaps. I'm gonna take a pair of clippers or wire cutters, kind of pinch these here and try and get underneath it. Try not to mangle up the leather too much. There we go, there's 1. Okay, there's 2. So what we're gonna do now is take these 2 holes, line them up. I'm gonna come in with a pen and mark that. We're also going to mark the new slot hole, and we're also gonna mark the 2 new front snaps. Got one there, there, and there's your slot hole and the end. So we're gonna take our end punch, but we're gonna wanna be a little bit strategic because these holes where the stitching goes, we're not gonna really be able to do anything about them. So we're gonna try and kind of land in the holes themselves. I don't know if you can see that there. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna try and run this where there's holes on both sides. So that gives us a little bit of extra space, basically from this last stitch to the end. So it doesn't look super awkward and like have an extra random hole that it doesn't necessarily need to have. Booyah shaka. Now we're gonna come in and remove some of this stitching. We're going to remove the front and the backing. God, that is a horrifying sound. We're getting back into some ugliness here. Trying to remove all this old thread. Now we're gonna take our potato peeler and get rid of a little bit of this material so her belt still folds over nicely. Just to remove a little bit of material right here at the fold so it's not bulky and awkward. Come in with my container of booger liquid. Just needs a little bit. Now in an ideal world, we get all the holes to line up, which is incredibly difficult to do. And you're not gonna be able to see it on the GoPro because the GoPro is not great at close-up shots, but I can actually see the light back down through the holes. So once I see the holes are lined up, we're gonna kind of just finger clamp it and then let this dry for about a minute or so. All right, now we're gonna come over to the sewing machine and we're gonna sew this puppy back together. Start about 3 stitches overlapping. And just go really slow as to make sure I hit all these holes. And here we go, right at this last hole. Just like I planned when we chopped off this excess, this still gives us a little bit of room here to give her a decent little border and try and give her the illusion that we never came back and touched this thing, and this is how it showed up the very first time she received it. Oh, that hole was sketchy. Okay. We'll do the same 3 holes overlapping so they're same on the both sides. Alright, so we're going to tighten up our threads. Now the only bummer about this is typically you'll be able to tell from the backside where we kind of spliced these threads, but it's the backside and nobody's ever going to see it, so it's not too big of a deal. Now we're just going to trim off a little bit of this kind of funky excess here at the edge because the one layer is hanging over quite a bit more than the other. I'm going to blast this with a sanding wheel real quick. And here we can see that edge is nice and flush. Now what I want to do is also lightly sand basically where we lifted up. So just a tiny bit. I don't know if it's going to pick up on the GoPro, but you'll see my cat right there. But you'll see there's kind of a little bit of a seam visible. You know, I did those edges, and once I came back and opened them up, it kind of reopened. So we're going to very, very lightly hit the edges here. We're going to hit the very end, a little bit of an edge beveler. A tiny bit here on the edges. And also ever so gently touch the part we just sanded. Give this a couple minutes to dry. Gonna hit this on the polishing wheel real quick. Now remember those holes we marked a couple minutes ago? This is where they finally come into play. So we gotta knock in our new snap holes, as well as our slot. Now we got our new snaps. Now on the fronts, it's a little bit beefier here. So we're gonna give ourselves a little bit of help like that to feed our front sides in. Come back in with our cups. Set. Set. Do it again for the back side. Grab our keeper. Click. Click. Break it in a little bit. And voila. So I'm gonna straighten this belt completely out and show you down here. She needed this belt to be down to 40 inches. This is our 40. This is our middle hole. We got 3 adjustments up and we got 1, 2, 3 adjustments down. Bang. And there we have it. Quick, easy. I don't necessarily love having to work on stuff I've already worked on, but if I were to have to work on anything I've already worked on, these types of orders definitely would be the types of orders I wouldn't mind working on that I've already worked on. You know, being a dude who always struggled with his weight, you know, I'll get bigger customers who will, you know, they'll tell me, you know, build a little bit extra adjustment because I go up and down a bunch. And this might be the wrong thing to do, but I usually am like, dude, as a big boy, I'm not going to do you the solid of giving you an excuse to slide back down. So, Brianna, I'm not fucking adding holes the other way next time. This is the last time I'm touching this belt, unless we're putting holes the other direction. But thank you guys for watching. Quick, fun video. Not much else to say. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe. It really does help a lot. Drop a comment, even if you tell me that you hate me. That still helps out. Definitely hit the subscribe button. I'm currently pushing for the big 2,000 on YouTube. I love making these YouTube videos. And if you just enjoyed it, definitely subscribe. I'm always posting at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. All kinds of fun leather crafting projects and insight into the mind of a professional leather crafter. So, see you guys next time.